Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Asad Yaqub and I am master trainer in one organization, that is Directorate of Staff Development, and there I teach the trainers, master trainers, subject specialists, teachers and all that. The purpose of making this video is to tell you how to become an effective teacher and how to be a passionate teacher and how to inspire your students. The topic we are discussing, that is lecture delivery skills, and this is part 2 of lecture delivery skills, and here I'm going to give you some tips for pre-lecture delivery. I mean, before you stand in front of the students to deliver a lecture, what you need to do, that's what I'm going to tell you. The first and the most important thing is your dressing. From your dressing, you should look like a teacher. Now, it doesn't mean from dressing you should look like a teacher that there is a special dress for teacher, there is a specific dress for teacher. No, you should look decent. Whatever you're wearing, whatever you normally wear, you should look decent in that, and you should look sober in that as well. Decency and being sober, these are the important things. Now remember one thing, there are two things. One is you are a teacher. Second is you act like a teacher. Third is you look like a teacher. Fourth is you talk like a teacher. Fifth is you behave like a teacher. So all these things should be there when you say you are a teacher. When you are wearing the tag of a teacher, I mean you are getting the title of a teacher, it means the way you talk, the way you walk, the way you look, right? By all means you should look like a teacher. Means a very sober person, a very inspiring person. Your talking style should be inspiring, your walking style should be inspiring, your dressing should be inspiring, the way your hairstyle, each and everything. So before you appear in front of the students, remember one thing, when you go to deliver a lecture, that lecture is your performance. Okay, if I say it's a circus and you got to give your performance in the circus, so that very period when you enter the classroom, your performance starts, and try to give your best performance in front of the students. And best performance is only possible if you are very well prepared, if you got good command over your communication skills, over your subject, whatever you're going to teach, you've got good classroom control, you've got good interaction with the students. When you got all these things, then you will be able to give a best performance. And remember, first you can just give like 1 month, you can put yourself on 1 month performance game, that in this 1 month I'm going to give my best performance. And believe me, after giving your best performance in 1 month, it will become your habit. Then your every performance is going to be super duper. Your every performance is going to be fantastic if you do this deliberately for 1 month, that in this 1 month I will deliver my lectures in an excellent way, I will deliver my lectures in powerful way. Just do it for 1 month. Just take extra care of all these things for 1 month, and after a month that will become your habit, and then lifetime you will be delivering fantastic lectures. Okay, so dressing is one of the things which you need to take care of. Second is objective. You should be very clear about the objective when you enter the classroom, because you should know that this is the class. Yesterday I taught this, today I'm going to teach this, tomorrow I will teach that. So whatever you are going to teach that very day, you should be clear about that. The first thing is you should know how much you are going to teach. Secondly, you should know how are you going to impart that to the students. Third, you should know how are you going to check the knowledge of the students, or how are you going to test the students on their new learning, right? Actually, you know, whatever the objective is, you should be very clear, and then you got to achieve your objective. Now, for example, I made the previous video, you watched my previous video. In that previous video, I had a very clear objective, that I had to tell you a little about lecture delivery skills. Then I had to tell you why do we deliver lectures, and I told you about that, and I achieved my objective. Remember, the students sitting in front of you, they have their own objective. Every day their parents send them to school with an objective of acquiring knowledge, acquiring new information that is going to make them a good human being, that is going to make them an able human being, so that they could face the challenges of their time. That is the objective of the parents. The students, they have their own objectives. Then you are the teacher. Teachers have their own objectives, and believe me, students are the most important part of your objective. Whatever your objective should not be to finish the syllabus. I mean, if you say, well, my objective is to finish the syllabus, my objective is to finish one chapter in 1 week, my objective is to finish this topic in the class. No. Your objective should be to teach the students and to make sure that students have learned this very chapter. That should your objective be. So you should be clear about your objective, and you should be aware of your students' objective and their needs, their learning needs. How do they learn? What is their learning style? We'll talk about that as well. We'll talk about teaching styles, and there I'll tell you about the 3 learning styles the students have, and in detail we'll have a discussion on that. So clear objective will help you achieve it. Okay, let's go ahead. Next is content. Now, sometimes the teachers come to the class and say, students, what are we going to learn today? And then you can understand the confusion of the teacher. You can understand the absent-mindedness of the teacher, that teacher doesn't know what he or she is going to teach in that class. So you should be clear what is going to be the content and how much are you going to cover on that. What is your strategy to cover that very content? Once you are clear about the content, I mean, you know, before entering the class, what happens? You make up your mind. If you are an experienced teacher, you can even teach the students while your eyes closed, and you can teach because you've been through that syllabus over the years, and you know how to cover that very syllabus. But anyways, the knowledge of the content, what you're going to teach, that is very, very important. Now, the next thing is knowledge of students. You know the content. Now, the knowledge of students plays very important role in their learning. Have you noticed the students of class 1, they are only prepared for the first grade. They are only prepared for that very grade. When they come to grade 2, actually grade 2 is the linking or a continuation of grade 1. Now, if they miss grade 1, in grade 2, they will not be able to understand the things. In grade 2, they are actually prepared for grade 3, because the next grade is 3. So they are prepared for grade 3. The things they will learn in the future, the background of those things or the basics of those things are taught in grade 2. Now, if you think that after grade 2 you send a child to grade 5 or grade 6, definitely that gap will not be covered. So knowledge of the students is very, very important. Whatever you teach them, it's just like a link. The knowledge of students, whatever you teach, the new learning is like a link. Now you teach one thing, and then related to that thing there is another thing you teach them. That is the next thing. Then related to that you teach them, and it makes a chain. Right? Now, for instance, if anybody who doesn't know, who doesn't have the concept of multiplication and all that, you cannot teach them ahead. You cannot teach them advanced mathematics, because it's important to know all these things. Check the knowledge of students, check the present level of students, make sure what you're going to teach, what comes before that, and whatever comes before that, are the students clear about that? If the students are clear about that, then you teach them next. Otherwise, you can just start with that very thing, the background of that very topic, and then link it with their new learning. So knowledge of students, the present knowledge of students, what do they already know about the topic, that is very, very, very important. That's why sometimes some students don't understand, because they don't know the background of that very thing. Now, for instance, if you watch a movie from the middle, you don't know what happened before, and because of that you will not be able to understand the movie immediately. You'll say, who is the hero, who is the heroine, who is this person, what is the relationship of this person with the hero, with the heroine, and all that. You'll be confused altogether. So that's why check the present knowledge of the students and give them the background of what you're going to teach, and then teach, and your students will be happy. Happy students, happy teacher. Next is the classroom. Now, you should know about the classroom. You should know about the seating arrangement of the classroom. You should know about the facilities available in the classroom, and then accordingly you have to teach the students. Now, for instance, In my classroom, there is a blackboard only. For example, I've got the blackboard only. I don't have any multimedia. I don't have any other support. So I will use just the blackboard to deliver my lecture. And I should know how the students are sitting in the classroom. What is the sitting arrangement? Can I make them sit in a horseshoe, or like we say the U shape? Can I make them sit? Is that better? Or if there's going to be a discussion, can I divide the class into small groups? So all the knowledge. And one more thing, as far as the classroom is concerned, if you are a science teacher, there should be one corner of the classroom for science teacher. If you are English teacher, there should be one corner of the classroom for English teacher. If you are teaching mathematics, there should be one corner, and that very corner should be decorated. I mean, for example, if I look at that side, and that is English side, I see some quotations on English. I see there are some sayings on English. There is a picture of Shakespeare. It will make up my mind towards English. It will give me a feeling of English language outside, right? And one side is for science. I can see the diagrams there. I can see different things. I can see there are some pictures of biology and all that stuff. So that is actually going to create the environment. Remember, whatever you're going to teach, you are creating environment of that, and the surroundings, they are actually going to create the environment as well. So that classroom should be conducive to whatever you are teaching. That's another important thing. After that, the time and length of your lecture. Remember, if you've got 45 minutes to deliver the lecture, your lecture should start and finish in 45 minutes. You need to plan that in such a way, because you know, if you're going to take extra time, then you're going to disturb other classes and other teachers as well. If you've got the class of 45 minutes, don't consume all 45 minutes as teaching time. 45 minutes should not be the teaching time. First, when you enter the class, if there is the attendance thing, you got to do that. After that, you can ask some questions. You can check the prior knowledge of the students. You can see what happened yesterday, right? So all that, and if you gave any test, any assignment, you can talk about that, and then start talking about the topic, and then go ahead. Your talk time, I mean your lecture delivery time in a 45 minutes class should be almost 20 to 25 minutes. Don't just, it's not that when your period starts, you start talking for 45 minutes continuously. You are talking, and then when the bell rings, you say, thank you very much students, take good care of yourselves, see you tomorrow, bye-bye. Not like that. The students, remember one thing, I mean, now when this video is going ahead, it's being prolonged, I'm getting worried. Why? Because I know you cannot concentrate after 5 to 10 minutes. When you are listening, you cannot concentrate that much after 5 to 10 minutes. So you need a break, right? That is why when you are delivering the lecture, try your level best that very moment when you are talking to the students, when you are delivering the lecture, when you're explaining the things, it should be either for 20 minutes, or you can do one thing, deliver one set of lecture in 5 to 8 minutes, then take a break. There can be a discussion, there can be an activity, then again the second part of the lecture you can deliver 5 to 8 minutes or 5 to 10 minutes, and then again there should be a break where students actually, they're not listening to you, they're doing something else, they are reading or they're doing something else. This is going to help you achieve the retention and concentration of the students. You can get the concentration of the student, and you will see the quality concentration will be given. Check your students when you're delivering the lecture. Initially, the faces will be like this, right? After 5 to 10 minutes, the faces are going to be like this. After 15 to 20 minutes, the faces are going to be like this. And after 20 to 30 minutes, the faces are going to be like this. And then you say, hey, why are you yawning in front of me? Why are you blaming the students for yawning? Actually, you are making them yawn. You are making them sleep, okay? So if you give them the, you know what happens when you're watching, you're attending the lecture like this. This one posture is going to make you feel bored because you're not doing anything. If for 5 to 8 minutes you deliver the lecture, after that there is an activity, the participants are active in that, right? Then there is the lecture, then there is an activity. So there should be the breaks within your lecture, and these breaks should not divert the attention of the students from that very topic which you are teaching. You can give them some reading material, you can give them a question, you can give them anything for discussion. These type of things can help. So time and length, they can be important for your lecture. There's another thing you should see. If the students are active and alert in the morning, there is one thing we call it prime time of the students. If the students are active and alert in the morning, then you should try to teach them the difficult subjects when they are active and alert. You should see what's the normal prime time of your students. Is it the morning time? Is it the time after recess or after the break, or is it the time at 10 o'clock? Whatever it is. So you got to just check the prime time of the students. Prime time means when the students are active and alert, and then make your timetable according to the prime time of that very class. And for that you can have a survey as well. You can ask the students, what time do you sleep, what time do you wake up, when do you feel very active during the day, like that. Okay, so then you can just set the time, and then you can teach the difficult subjects at that time as well. Okay, now we will talk about the structure of lecture. Structure of lecture, right? As far as the structure of your lecture is concerned, in the beginning you can introduce the topic, you can give a little background knowledge, you can ask some questions, you can see what is the basic understanding which the students should have in order to understand this very lecture, right? Don't test them on what you are going to teach, test them on what is required to learn that very thing. Test them what is required to learn that very concept. See, do they know the background of that? Do they know the previous thing which is important to learn this thing? If they know that, it's okay. Otherwise, summarize the previous thing. Or you say, well, yesterday we learned this, before this we did that chapter, and that chapter is linked with this chapter, how it is linked, elaborate them, and then there you are. So you can start sometime. After that, we call it your talk time. Your talk time is when you are delivering the lecture, when you are talking and the students are just listening, and I've given you a lot of ideas about that. After your talk time, the next is you're going to ask the students, check their understanding. Whenever you deliver the lecture, don't believe the students. For example, at the end of the lecture you say, students, do you understand? And they say, yes teacher. Any question? No teacher. Any problem? No teacher. And the teacher is very happy that my students have no problem, my students have no question. Remember, if they're not asking any question, if they don't have any problem, there can be a big problem. There can be a lot of questions, because we don't encourage our students to ask us the questions. So that's why you got to just see that. So structure, introduction, then the body of the lecture, and then conclusion. In conclusion, you can give them homework, you can give them any exercises, you can tell them what is going to be the next. If there is any assignment they've got to make, in the end, in conclusion, you can actually do that, and then you got to finish the lecture. And in conclusion, don't forget to summarize what you've already said. And when you summarize that, you can ask the students to produce their new learning. When you are summarizing, you can say, okay, the king was from, if you taught them a story, the king was from, yes, Scotland, and his wife came from Denmark. All right, very good, like that. So that you should check their understanding, which is important. Now, encourage the students to ask you the questions after the lecture. Maybe during the lecture, if for example you are taking a break, you are teaching your lecture in 10 minutes, then there is a break, you can encourage them and make it compulsory for all the students to ask you at least one question. And see, the students who are not asking questions, ask them to ask the questions. What happens? Those students who understand the lecture only, they will ask you the questions. And those who do not understand the lecture, those who've got the problems, they are timid, they are lacking confidence, because you need a lot of confidence to ask a question, and then you are afraid whether the question you're going to ask, is that the right question or not, is that the right question at the right time or not. So encourage your students to ask a question, because when they ask you the questions, that will show that they are learning the lesson. And one more thing, if you ask the students, I'm going to start my lecture. At the end of my lecture, everybody will ask me 2 questions from the lecture. Now the students are alert. They will listen to you carefully, because they know at the end of that very session, we have to ask 2 questions and 2 relevant questions. So they will listen to your every word, because they know they got to make 2 questions. So do something like this, so that the students They are looking for something in your lecture. They are searching for something in your lecture, and that very approach, that very suspense of mind is going to help them to learn everything, to process everything, to listen to everything, right? Take care of yourself. Being a teacher, whenever you are going to deliver the lecture, before the lecture, you should be healthy. Your mood should be good naturally, otherwise you should be good at pretending. We teachers are very good at pretending. Hello students, how are you? See, this is artificial smile, and it must be there, and it should be there. The artificial smile or this artificial behavior should be on your face naturally. Right now, you know, you are a teacher. In front of the students, how you are going to behave, how you are going to talk to them. You should be cheerful, you should be excited, there should be enthusiasm and all that. So take good care of yourself. It's a good idea. I mean, you can have a cup of tea during the recess, then you will feel charged once again if you are in habit of having tea or coffee, if you are in habit of that. Or if you're feeling hungry, you know, sometimes you go to school without breakfast and then you are hungry there. So a hungry man is an angry man, okay? So if you are hungry, you are angry as well. So you need to control yourself emotionally, physically, mentally. When I say take care of yourself, you need to take care of your physical health, you need to take care of your mental health, and you need to take care of your emotional health. Because if there are negative emotions while teaching, if there are certain negative personal emotions while teaching, that is going to play havoc with your teaching, and you will not be able to deliver a good lecture. By the time you enter the classroom, altogether forget about your personal things, forget about your personal and emotional things. You are in front of the students and you need to give a good performance. That's what you got to do, right? So take good care of yourself. That is going to help you. Practice. You need to practice, and by the way, we teachers, we practice every day. If you're teaching in a school and you're taking 6 to 8 periods in a day, means you are having 6 to 8 performances every day, and after a month, if you calculate, around 120 performances, around 120, and then in a year you can see around, I mean, there are so many performances, you got thousands of performances. So that is the practice. But remember, when you do the practice, don't do the same things in the same manner over and over and over again. If you're going to do the same things in the same manner over and over and over again, there is not going to be any improvement. A teacher should be a big risk taker. You go to the class and you say, well, today I'll try this new thing. Today I'll try this new technique. Today I'll try this new activity, and make activities. I mean, you don't need a book. Believe me, you don't need a book to see what sort of activities do I need to do. You should be a thinker. When you're in the classroom, and I teach English language, I'm English language teacher as well. Most of the time this happens when I go to the class. I don't know what activities I'm going to do, but when I look at the moods of the students, when I look at the faces of the students, I generate new activities, and then I realize this activity was very good, this activity is excellent. I make a note of that very activity, and I do that activity with other students as well. So I mean, you should be a teacher, a sort of innovative teacher, and you should have your own activities. So these were some pre-lecture tips. Sorry, I talked too much, but anyways, it was important. And remember, my words will have no value. This lecture which you watched will be a waste of time unless you act upon all the things. I hope you will act upon all the things, and whenever you're going to stand in front of the students, you will keep my words in mind, and you will try to be an innovative teacher, and that's going to change your nation. Wherever you are from, regardless of that fact, that's going to change your nation, and you are the nation builder. I conduct teacher training all over the world, especially in Pakistan, because I'm from Pakistan. So if you need my services for teacher training, I can train your teachers on English language. If they have English language problem, I can train your teacher on pedagogy skills. If there are certain pedagogical issues like lecture delivery skills, classroom management, time management, these type of things, I conduct lectures on that as well. For that you can contact me. My WhatsApp number is given. On that number you can contact me. And I have made a teacher training course as well. This course is in Urdu. If you understand Urdu, you can get this teacher training course. There are many lectures in this course, and through these lectures I have explained all the things that will help you become an efficient teacher. And this course is not very expensive, it's quite economical. If you want to order this course, you can also contact us on this given number. Wish you all the best. Happy teaching!